is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we are going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation
Off-road edition.
Right, Richelle?
Okay. You guys ready for my next question? It's very important.
I am.
Oh, it's so good. Okay. Do you think I said slap, like slap your face, boxing should be used as a healthy form of encouragement?
I had to go.
Now let me explain here. Okay, let me explain. First of all, slap boxing is real. There is a sport out there where people slap themselves until one or the other wins.
Yeah, it sure is.
In the UK, exactly. Krissy knows. It's huge. But out here or in other countries, people have taken a liking to it because slapping each other is like, it gets you out of your funk and brings you to a place of reality by slapping each other with like an encouraging, like, get out of that. You are great, and you slap each other, or you slap each other enough times. You slap each other enough times that you like come out of it instead of like, the 10-second rule, like give it 10 seconds and calm down. You slap you 10 times till you calm your tits and you come back down to reality.
Here's the thing that I'm finding some holes in the whole thing. Like, of like, oh no, it's a super healthy way to like snap out of some negative thinking or some like rumination. Is that essentially when you have any aggression that takes place on your physical body or within your nervous system, it's going to shoot adrenaline, and that adrenaline is going to put you into a fight, flight, or freeze state of mind. And so it might reset you, and that's a good thing, but it's also putting you in a state of complete survival, which is not a great thing if you don't need to be. And there's some residuals. Yeah. Also, if you're being smacked around by the people that trust you, love, and trust, think of like, I would always be a little bit
always alert.
Yeah. Like I would just always be, if I shared any feeling, I'm like, oh, I'm just having a really tough day, and just boom across the face. I was like, I feel like that was a healthy emotion I was sharing. And they're like, Wayne, nobody ain't got time for that. Let's move on.
Fight or flight, baby.
Yeah. And I Googled this slap boxing after I finished dying laughing after I read it. And the video I showed was this guy. The guy was narrating, and it was so hilarious. But then the other guy, they were in a competition. The one guy gets slapped so hard he gets knocked out unconscious. And then when he comes to, he's like, my turn. They're like, what is your turn? You lost, man. You're KO'd. He's like, I don't get to slap him. They're like, no, it's over, man. He was just like so out of it. He's like, I don't think my brain works anymore.
My turn.
He was.
Me, I get to go now.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're going to get it, man. He was like, they're like, it's done, sir. You have lost.
So you got to have rules for sure. And you got to trust the person that's doing it. You know what I mean? You got to have that conversation maybe like weeks in advance. Like, hey, man, what do you think of slap encouraging? Should we do it? It can't just be out of the blue. And maybe not while you're drinking or on drugs.
No.
Right.
70-year-old me will keep that in mind.
This shouldn't be our party trick is what I'm picking up.
Like 80 years old, Krissy's just flying. She's like, all right, I'm trying this. Let's do it.
Right.
She's on crystal meth. I'm slapping the shit out of her. I'm like, get on back here. That's too crazy of a trap.
That
was my old lady voice.
We actually had a slap boxing fiasco on the seawall of Vancouver one night. It resulted in my dog getting loose. It was a whole thing. So all I will say is that it's an interesting spectator sport because late at night, we had a night, and then my husband went to take our dog out.
Sorry, what does that mean? We have had a night. That could be anything.
Drinks for sure.
Ah,
so everyone was feeling woo, and like I was like, oh, I don't feel like walking the dog. And quite literally, my husband comes back like panting out of breath because he had to chase our dog because he ended up getting stuck watching this random slap box fight that was happening on the seawall, and then naturally went to take video of it. But this is why I say we had a night. To this day, he says he put her harness on right, but I know she didn't. So then Stella got out, and what does Stella do when they're slap boxing? Well, she was the goddamn referee.
Oh
Drove
yeah.
at the slap boxers and broke that up in a jiffy. But have to say, when I saw the video, very entertaining spectator sport. I was like, what?
I'm
They
so
had their
bummed I
shirts
missed
off and we're just like, whap, whap. But like, as you say, it wasn't aggressive. They weren't, it was like
All of our
a
mouths are open.
joyful,
Oh my Lanta.
you know, like they weren't yelling at each other. It looked like they were having a grand old time.
So would you allow somebody, so we've all kind of given our somewhat thoughts on it, but would you personally do it? Have it
I
done
think
to
I
you?
would. I think that I think it would almost be like a really cool way, like because my mind is always so busy. Like if I really trusted somebody, like,
Mhm.
you know, like because I would know that it's not their malicious intent to like beat the shit out of me. Like if you or Krissy did it and we were like having like a conversation and you were like, you know, just slap me.
Yeah.
I'd be like angry for a second and then I'd probably laugh really hard.
Of course we would.
You know what I mean? And then we just like get into it. It's almost like, you know.
Yeah. But here's the
just
good
one of those
news
things.
is that, you know, you said your mind's going a lot and it could be something that interrupted it. There is another solution. Doesn't hurt as much. It's called breath work. It's called take some deep fucking breaths.
That's how the goose
On
noise
it,
was
yeah,
developed.
on the
So
daily.
watch out.
Nobody, guess what? No one has to slap your ass unless you really want
I would
it.
like that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a whole different podcast.
That's why it's out
I
there
love
so
the
much.
idea of breath work. Very nice. Excellent choice in healthy situation change there. And thank you, Laurie, for that.
Here's the thing. I love hitting things. So if anybody out there listening needs a good slap from somebody that doesn't want to hurt them, but loves to hit things, I
Yes.
am your gal. Oh, I don't know why. Ever
Oh.
since I was a little kid, hitting things.
Just, yeah. I like, oh my gosh. Stop it. Lord, yourself. Krissy.
Look how joyful you are, though. Maybe it's working.
You guys, all my problems went away.
It feels pretty good, actually, if you give yourself a little face spank. It's not
I
that
used
bad.
to have to
I
do that when I
feel-
fall asleep at the wheel. I would legit. I'd be like,
I
"Come
do.
on, girl,
Mhm.
you got half 4 hours.
Get up.
Get up."
Yeah.
Ow, that one hurt.
Do it.
That one's done. I didn't like that last one.
Yeah. Cool.
All
All right. Good chat.
Good chat, you guys. Healthy chat. What's something that what's something that adults told you that as you grew older, you were like, that's a lie, outside of the obvious of like Santa Claus and shit like that? I feel like I've asked this one
That's
before,
a
but maybe
lie.
not. That's a lie.
Something that's for sure. The first time I ever saw cocaine, and they were like, "That's flour."
Oh no.
And as I got older, I was like, "Flour, really?"
I still have never
But it
seen
had
cocaine.
me going. You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, that's good. I mean, there's really no use to see it if you're not doing it.
No,
I've never done
100%,
it,
right?
But
I've seen it obviously on television or a
Yeah.
video and somebody, but not myself being like, oh, that's cocaine. I've
that's
only
what
done
that
it.
is.
Imagine. I've never seen it. I just did it, but I had my eyes
I took a
closed.
straw. It was 10 feet long, and I snorted it around a corner.
Snorted around the corner. Yeah, that shit scares. I don't think I don't know. Get too scared of drugs. Anywho, do. All right.
We're talking about drugs a lot tonight, but that's what I think. That's what I remember. That's what I recall. I recall that.
That's a good one.
I was told that if you turned the light on in the car, that it was illegal and they would get pulled over, and also that it would like blind the driver so they would crash. So like
Wait a
I was
minute. Isn't
you
that
know the
real?
little light in the back.
I thought that was legit.
That it's illegal?
Yeah, the cops pulled you over if you had the light on inside your vehicle while you were driving.
I don't.
They
it
just
not?
didn't want you playing
I
with the
don't think
lights
so,
and being
no.
a jerk child.
No, why would they?
God,
No, it's not
my mother
illegal.
right now. That's garbage.
Think of all the reality TV shows that they film them driving in the car with the light on in the car.
Or like, why would there be lights in the back of the car? Like, you want to look to see something. You're not impeding anybody by doing so.
I
love when
get.
you-
Like, did we look up the rules and regulations on this? Like, literally driving the vehicle, you can have the lights on inside.
I almost just spilled my
Yeah,
tea
you
on
can
that.
you can have the lights on. As the driver, you can be playing cards. You can be.
You can now go on your cell phone. It's 2022 because cars actually drive themselves.
Remember they had the DVD player in like the console,
There
and you
is
could like
nothing
watch it as a driver.
specific in the
Ooh.
Motor Vehicle Act or regulations that prohibits this.
Wow, brilliant, Krissy! You just blew my mind, and then you went full digital on it and got me proof. What an encyclopedia!
They just didn't want children doing a light show, a disco show. Because what do you do as a kid? On, off, right?
All the time.
I mean, I loved buttons as a child. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I was a big button fan of all kinds.
The amount of time, the kids that I work with, please don't touch that button. Hey guys, we can't be pressing that button. It's like they're just always like for like the fire
I
alarms.
Still feel like that. It's like the inner voice being like, "You're an adult. You should know this."
100%.
But it's so red.
Why do they make them red? Make them bland. Make them things you don't want that don't stand out to be like, push me. Give me a little push.
Yeah.
What was it for you, Laurie?
My dad told me we were gypsies.
Oh.
And then I was in class and I was quite old. I think I was like 14 or something like that. And we're talking about like our heritage, where you're from and all the above. And I was like, well, we are gypsies. And my teacher was like, I don't think you are. And I was like, pretty sure we are. And turns out I went home and said this to my dad. And my dad was like, no, we're not actual gypsies. I'm like, Dad, you've literally told this a million times to us and like all these stories. He's like, I'm just joking. I was like, you gotta tell kids you're joking. You're a very good storyteller. This gets confusing. And then my dad actually just gave me this, like, it's quite beautiful, but it's the like history of gypsies. He just gave it to me like a couple of years ago. It's our heritage. It was amazing because the teacher was like, it's not, no, probably. And I was just like, no. Went to my dad, like,
you think I would know?
Yeah. Tell her, Dad. Dad's like, I will not, because we are not.
I love that. Your dad sounds great.
He is one of the funniest people on earth. He's just so low key, like just the shit that comes out of his mouth, things he does just because he's like, it was funny. And you're like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Dad.
I want to meet him.
You will. All right.
What's something you've gone without that most people haven't?
This is a hard one.
So maybe a common item that most people have that you do not own.
Oh.
Or have not used in your life.
I answered this a little different. The only thing I could think of was because we had like all our major basic needs met for sure. And then some. I thought of like a lot of people have never fasted. And I fasted for like 3 days. So went without food. That was a roller coaster. It was shocking how it was like super easy at times and then the hardest at other times. Like how much the second day was the worst, where you just like, it was just all you could think about was food. And then the third day, it was like, you just forgot it ever existed almost. You were just like, I could do this forever. And then I went out for a meal with, it was our staff party, and I overindulged. Bad idea when you fasted for 3 days.
Yep.
And I was on the dance floor and I started to get a cramp and I was in so much pain. I had to like crouch over to like walk to my car and get home. So I was just like, what is wrong with you, Laurie? It's just no common sense sometimes I have, I swear.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
You're so pretty.
Oh, thanks so much, mansplain.
Oh my God. Rude.
Rude.
I think maybe if I'm going with like a future thing, I've never used an air fryer.
Oh,
Me
come
neither.
on. You guys. It's like the mass.
It was the number one sold item for like 3 years on Amazon.ca.
You're not wrong. And now there's like different versions of them. Everyone's
Like,
so
everybody's
big
got
and obsessed
one.
with their air
Well, that's why my
fryers.
mom was like, hey, do you need an air fryer? I've
See?
got 3 of them and they're all different sizes. And so I'll return them if you do not. I was like,
You can air fry anything.
Yeah, I was
Himalayan
like,
salt
we don't need
lamb,
more.
your cat.
Meow.
You know what I'm talking about though, Krissy, right?
Yes.
Like everybody's got one.
Okay.
I've never.
Definitely.
Well, then
Yeah,
I take
and
away
they're
my
very
Richelle.
passionate. They are very passionate about the air fryer.
Super pash.
Right? If
That's
one of
true.
us had an air fryer in this conversation, I know how it would have gone. They'd be like, "What? You don't have an air fryer?" Yeah, that's how it would go down.
Well, Laurie
what
wouldn't
if-
have one because she's a gypsy.
I don't keep knickknacks like that around.
Right?
Always got to be ready to be on the move in my caravan.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. I
No
did
room for an air fryer.
it did make sense later in life because I moved constantly. So I think I took this gypsy thing to heart continuously because I've lived in, I can't even remember, it was insane amounts of apartments, cities, places. We just moved all the time, even within the same city or town. So I just really took it to heart. So you know what? I am a damn gypsy.
Right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
go.
You
Gypsy
own it.
heart.
Yeah.
Get your gypsy girl.
I don't own a microwave. Don't own a microwave. They creep me out.
Oh, yeah. They're very creepy.
They're so
They're
creepy.
bad for
Why
you.
so hot? Why so hot?
And
Like,
you put your hand in afterwards, no heat in there.
so cold. They
So
really
it can
creep
heat
me
up
out.
your food that fast. But then when you right afterwards, no heat. that-
Yeah.
My buddy said that one time
Actually-
about we're going to look back and be like, describe to what a microwave is to like little kids and they're going to, or teens, and they're going to be like, what? You guys
Oh,
put your
yeah.
food
Yeah.
in there? And we're like, yeah, every day. Every day we did.
It was amazing.
So good. I've also never
gives off
had
a
a
lot of
TV in the
radiation.
bedroom.
Oh, TV in the bedroom? No, yeah, we avoid that too.
Yeah. But it's like quite common, but I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
bedrooms for bedroom things.
Bedrooms for
Yeah.
bedroom things.
Oh.
I was thinking sleeping, but yes, that's way cooler what you thought of.
It is
So-
cooler.
I don't know why that. Yeah. Usually my mind's right away in the gutter. Oh, that's what happens when you have
Like,
head
ooh,
cold.
sleep, love that.
Yeah, that's when you have a head cold. I'm like, oh, sleep. Out cold,
Mm.
sleep.
Egyptian bed sheets.
Dreaming of gypsy things,
bam.
doing gypsy things.
Yeah, gypsy sleeping.
Eucalyptus air thing.
Eucalyptus air thing.
you know, when you
I
get sick, you
do.
put with the drip and the diffuser, right?
I have one in my bedroom.
I knew it. I knew
But
it.
of course.
Yeah, but of course.
You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotivation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, you know? Like people will be like, oh my God, I don't
What?
floss.
Oh, it's going to be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.